Hi and welcome to another 3-string cigar box guitar lesson. I'm Sean from Chord Guitar, and today we're looking at how you can use the major pentatonic scale. So this is like a sort of second lesson in scales that are quite good for roots and blues music. So the previous one was just looking at the actual blues scale, which is quite close to the minor pentatonic. This major pentatonic is very similar to the major scale. We did another lesson on that previously earlier this year, but it's basically got 2 notes missing. So pentatonic just means 5-note scale. So this is a 5-note major scale, and so we'll get into it in a minute. First of all, let's just have a quick look at the tuning. So we've got low G, middle D, and high G. Okay, so just going to show you how to play the scale on different strings to start with, and then we'll look at how you can use it musically, and also have a little look at the how to play that intro that I just played as a demo. So the major scale, which we covered in a lesson that's also on the channel, was basically open G if I start on the top string, fret 2, fret 4, fret 5, fret 7, fret 9, fret 11, fret 12. Okay, so we're in the key of G because of the tuning. So that was G, A, B, C, D, E, what you call F sharp, and G. So we're literally just going to get rid of 2 of those notes, and that is pentatonic. And so what happens with pentatonics is they sound very strong. They're not sort of quite as subtle, or maybe they won't sound quite as varied as a 7-note scale, but they do sound really strong, and all the notes work really well together. So that's why they're often really effective for blues and roots music. So what we're doing is we're just going to get rid of the 5th note, which is the C, and the 7th note, which was the F sharp on fret 11. So we'd be left with G, A fret 2, B fret 4, straight to D fret 7, fret 9, and that's an E, and then straight up to the octave. So it's just another G. Okay. You might notice, by the way, in the demo that I played it all pretty much with slide. So I'm just demoing this with a slide, but you know, you can play it fretted. It works exactly the same way. And then because we've got high G and low G, we can just play the same notes basically on the bottom string. Open 2, 4, 7, 9. Up to the octave. I'm not going to worry about going past fret 12. I know some of you aren't going to have particularly long necks on cigar boxes, and also it just completely resets. So if fret 12 is the same as the open strings, so whatever they're tuned to, D, G, D, D, G, D, then if you go past that, it's just the same as basically starting again playing these frets. So like fret 2, fret 4, fret 7. So fret 14 is the same as fret 2, but an octave higher. Fret 16 is the same as fret 4, and so on. So you can hear that's the same notes, but just basically 1 octave higher. So we'll just ignore those, but you know, feel free to apply all of this to the higher notes if you like the sound of them. And then finally, we can play on the middle string. So G is actually fret 5. Hopefully you've got to grips with that by now. So we'd start the scale from fret 5. So we've got fret 5, which is a G, fret 7, which is an A, fret 9, which is a B, and then jump straight up to fret 12, which is a D. And if we wanted to drop down the other way, we can start from G, which is fret 5 again, and we've got E, and then low D, okay. You can even sort of play across the strings if you want, so you can sort of combine some of those notes. So we could go open, fret 2, fret 4, open D, fret 2, fret 5. So that's actually like a 1-octave scale, that one. That's the entire scale. That's the same as just going up one string, but it might be a bit more practical to switch between strings. Fret 5 is the same as the open. And so if you're using a slide, it can be quite good to look at which frets you can play pairs of notes on. So for example, I can play pairs of notes on fret 7. So I've got and so I can either cover all of the strings, but sometimes I mean, that's actually another chord. That's going to a D. So if you don't want to sound like you've changed chord, you could still maybe just cover the top two and play an open G. We can also move up to fret 9. That's a pair of notes as well, as is fret 2. So you get interesting sound there. Doesn't quite work the same way on fret 4. If we play fret 4 on the middle string, that then brings back in one of the notes from the full major scale. But really, you can just sort of work your way around. And just sort of like try and find some of those positions. You can even sort of angle your slide and just play a bass. And it's not sounding quite so much like you're sort of changing chord. It's more like a bass line, but we've still got the underlying sort of high G. So if I just keep plucking these open strings, another thing you can do, which we'll get into on the demo in a short while, is you can sort of angle in and just play notes on the middle string. So if I wanted to just pick that out, say fret 2 up to fret 5, and not catch string 1 underneath, see what I've got to do? I've got to sort of angle in just so that I can pick that out without catching. So it's a little bit tricky. That sometimes a slightly shorter slide can help as well. So if you want, if you feel like you want to brush up on your slide technique, we do have a free lesson on the channel, sort of covering the basics. But basically, if I did that, and what I'm doing also there is just playing some pull-offs. So okay, so that is where you just flick off. So you see that wrist movement again. That's covered in the beginner slide lesson. So you sort of pulling off to the open string, because if we're just playing with slide, we're not going to be able to pull off to another fretted note. And so the opposite of that is just a hammer on. So you just tap the slide onto a fret, or onto the string just above the fret, and you can combine them if you want to create a trill. Let's crack on and have a quick look at what we were doing in the demo. So straight away, there was a hammer on there onto fret 2 of the middle string, so I'm doing that angled slide thing that I just talked about earlier on. So here we've got a thumb on beat 1, so again the thumb is just constant like it is most of the time for the stuff that we've been looking at. The fingers are either with the thumb on the beat or in between the thumb off the beat, and I'm generally middle finger, high G, index finger, middle D. Okay, so I've got thumb on its own. I'm going to do a pull, open strings, but I'm going to hammer on straight away with the slide onto fret 2. Back to a thumb, and then just the open high G with my middle finger. Back to a thumb at the end, and so that is, it's all 4 beats in a bar, as most things are, and that was the first bar, so it was 1, 2, 3, 4. Thumb, pull, hammer, thumb, middle, thumb, and then what I'm going to do is straight away I'm going to change the angle of my slide, and I'm going to go up from fret 2 to fret 4. So and I'm doing this slightly sort of banjo-y claw hammer style strumming there. So I'm going to pluck with my middle, so that's a pull, and I'm sliding up to fret 4 from fret 2, and then I'm going to do a strum, index finger strum. Little bit of palm muting with most of the things we've been looking at on the bass. Again, check out the free picking lesson if you want a bit more information on that. So that was pull, strum, down stroke with me index, thumb, up, strum, up, down with me index. Okay, so this has all got a sort of blues shuffle, like a swung rhythm to it. The first note in every 2, when we're talking about the faster notes, the half beat notes, is longer than the. It's like a triplet rhythm, so it's longer than the first one. Long, short, sort of fits into that groove. So you've got to try and get everything to just fit into that nice easy groove. So it's hammer, including that hammer on, and the up down at the end. Okay, so that's the first bit. So the second part, we're going to go for an A. So fret 2, if we cover all the strings, we're very briefly on an A on fret 2. So we start the same. So that's thumb, pull, hammer on, thumb, middle, thumb, and then I'm going to go to the A, and that's pulling with 2 fingers and a thumb, plucking all the strings at once. You can see that those 2 are like working as a pair, and then open. So I'm going to angle my slide in again, and I'm going to slide up from fret 2 to fret 4, just so I don't catch the high G. So it's thumb, hammer, and that's middle thumb again. Cover the A. That's playing all the 3 strings at once. So thumb and 2 fingers, same on the open. And then angle the slide, slide up to fret 5 from fret 2, do a strum. So that is the first 4 bars. So all of that would sound like this. the third bar, sorry, it's like 2-bar phrases, so the third phrase is the same as the first one. And then the fourth one's slightly different. We're actually going to change chords, so we're going to come straight in on fret 9, and again we'll do like a pull with 2 fingers and a thumb. So I'm going to do a pull, slide down to that's on fret 9, that's an E, slide down to D. These are actually power chords when we just cover the 3 strings because of how it's tuned. It's not technically a major or a minor chord, so that's an E5, E power chord, and then down to a D, and then down to an A, and then do the slide up, pull. So the picking for that bit is pull on the E, down to the D, middle, thumb, index on the D, straight down to the A, and then straight off it. So it's just 1 on the E, 1 on the A. So most of the picking's on the D there. Pull, thumb, middle thumb, index, pull, pull, and then pull just with the index and thumb, slide up, strum. So there's the first 4 bars. A, then E, okay, so that's the first bit. That's the first section. Definitely practice that. Can be quite difficult to sort of get accuracy with your slide and all the rest of it, particularly when you speed it up a little bit. You really got to watch the angle on that middle string in particular. I mentioned this in the minor pentatonic or the blues scale video that I did previously. I'm actually kind of using the base of my index finger as a little reference point so that I can move in a parallel way. So I'm wherever I am, I'm trying my hardest to keep the same angle so that I know I'm not going to catch this string, so it's a bit awkward. You can sometimes rest a finger behind the slide as well, which just sort of cleans the sound up, makes it sound a bit more positive. But anyway, the next section, so once you practice that, is so that's your melody, fret 4, fret 7, fret 9, right up to fret 12. And the picking is pull to start with, and then so that's middle finger on the top string, thumb in between, so that's a middle, thumb, we'll bring in the index on the open D string, so we've got fret 4 with a pull, thumb, fret 7, thumb, open D, pull on fret 9. And then a pull, and we're going to do that same sort of strumming when we get to the top. So it's a pull on fret 12, thumb, strum, thumb. So all of that is pull, fret 4, middle and thumb, thumb, fret 7, middle, thumb, index, open D, and then pull on fret 9, and then another pull on fret 12, thumb, strum, very similar the second time, but then instead of just playing the single fretted high G, we're gonna go for the full E chord and go down to a D chord. So cover all of the strings with the bar, fret 9, fret 7. So we've got the same picking: pull, thumb, middle, index, pull, and then after that, that's just thumb, middle, thumb, index. Same as what we're doing in the first section. So that second part is first part again. And then just to finish off, we're going straight to A, just for one pull, then straight onto the open. So that's just thumb, middle, thumb, index. So we've got pull, thumb, middle, thumb, index, pull, angle in on fret 2, slide up, and then you just do the same strumming at the end. So as we were doing previously. So all of that middle section, we've got 3, 4. Then okay, so for the final part, we're going to introduce a C chord. So we've got E, D, C. Okay, and we're just going to do the same picking as before. So that's alternating. So it's thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, and we'll do it twice as long on the C. So we've got E, D, C, so that's basically the same as what we were doing at the beginning. So we're going E, C, D, A for one pull, and then pull. First bit again, alternating on the E, C, and then we've literally just got a little ending where we can play the 2 G strings. So we do a little move down from fret 5 down to fret 4, then pluck, which is thumb, middle, thumb, index, pull, slide up to fret 5, and then slide up on the top string from 2 to 4. Do a little strum at the end. So you got twice as long. And then off the C, okay, and that's the final part. Okay, so playing through the whole thing in one go, 3 distinct sections, and we'll just go nice and slowly, and I'll put the tab up on the screen as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4. section 1, section 2. Then and the ending. It's the ending. Okay. Alright, so that's the whole lot, and obviously, like we were saying earlier on, just use the scale in general, mix it up with major and minor, try and play over the top stuff, play with your friends, and great for blues. I mean, that's not strictly blues, you know, but it's got a sort of rootsy, slightly folky, slightly country feel to it as well. And so please check out the video which is on the minor scale, the blues scale, equivalent of this one. We've got various other lessons which are looking at sort of classic blues tracks, and also we're going to be dropping some new ones for slightly more recent songs, like arrangements for cigar box guitars. So please subscribe to the channel if you like this content, and we look forward to seeing you here again soon on Coda Guitar.